municipalities or city council or governments to run their elections together? I believe you voted no, is that correct?
It says voting against.
Says so.
Voted against?
Yes, it's.
Okay,
say
that's
she-
correct.
Yeah,
All
it
right.
does say she voted against it.
All right.
I did notice also that even though the consent item, you did mention how the voting went, in terms of the 7.c.6 and then the rest of it at the end. I was a little surprised that it was at the end and not kind of in the order we did it, but I think it's okay the way it is. But yeah. Great. I'm glad everybody's reading these. Wow, I'm impressed. Okay, with those minor changes, we have a motion and a second. That change is okay with the motion?
As
Okay,
amended?
Yeah, as amended. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed. Thank you. We'll go on to recognition of students, staff, and community, and that's Board Member Yolanda Cordova.
Welcome to tonight's board meeting, and thank you for coming. We would like to recognize the color guard tonight from El Dorado High School Marine Corps JROTC under the instruction of Major Korber and Master Sergeant Johnson. Would the instructors and students please come to the podium and introduce themselves?
Okay, I'm Cadet Second Lieutenant Brianna Espedicueta. I'm a senior. This is my 4th year in the program. I'm involved in color guard, the precision shooting team, and then I pretty much step in where anyone needs me.
My name is Aiden Randall. I'm a cadet second lieutenant in the El Dorado JROTC program. I'm the armed drill team commander. I do color guard, and I also help with all the other stuff that the company needs.
My name is Cadet Corporal Scott Salyer. I am a sophomore, and this is my 2nd year in the program. I am on armed drill team, and I help out with color guards and anything else necessary.
I'm Cadet Corporal Tolson, Sarah Tolson, and I'm on color guard and I help whenever needed. And it's my 2nd year in the program.
President Donald Johnson, I'm 3rd year at El Dorado. Loving doing what I'm doing.
Thank you.
Did you come in and change it? I actually didn't. No, we said we were, because we always have the noisy chair, so we said.
Our next recognition will be introduced by Gabriella Blakely, Associate Superintendent of Zone 1.
Good evening. Tonight we have the honor of recognizing an inspiring elementary school. Coronado Elementary School is the first Albuquerque Public Schools magnet school to receive the Magnet Schools of America's national certification. This certification offers parents, students, and community partners confidence the school is held to the same high standards as other certified schools that are across our nation. The certification is based on the National Magnet Schools Standards of Excellence and the 5 pillars of magnet schools, including diversity, innovative curriculum and professional development, academic excellence, high-quality instructional systems, family and community partnerships. Magnet School of America's national certification process is designed to recognize the hard work of the best magnet schools in the nation and to help them as they grow. To become nationally certified, schools must submit a detailed application and participate in a very rigorous evaluation that is conducted by the National Institute of Magnet School Leadership. Coronado Elementary School received this certification and is our first Albuquerque Public Schools magnet school. Principal Custer and several staff members are here tonight. Will you please come to the podium? And the students too can come.
All right.
They're the ones that do the hard work. We are so proud of your achievement. Thank you for all that you do. Will the family and friends of Coronado Elementary School please stand and be recognized? Let's again show our appreciation for Coronado Elementary School.
Congratulations. You worked really hard, huh? Congratulations. Thank you for being here. Congratulations.
Thank you. Tonight, we have another honor of a first for APS that is in Zone 1. And tonight we have the honor of recognizing an outstanding middle school. Kennedy Middle School recently received Advanced Ed accreditation. This is a national accreditation that all of our high schools go through, but Kennedy volunteered and was selected as our first middle school to submit for accreditation. Schools who receive Advanced Ed accreditation have shown that they create a world of opportunities for every learner, lead and empower the education community to ensure that all learners realize their full potential, are not constrained by the current environment or framework, even as we work within existing systems, represent the interests of all learners with a commitment to equity and integrity, take risks that support our beliefs, create and initiate change, growth, and innovation in our work, but also among each other, and expand and nurture our internal and external relationships. So Kennedy Middle School, again, was honored by receiving the accreditation from the Advanced Ed for middle school, and it is our first middle school in APS. Principal Bortot and several staff members were able to join us this evening. Will you please come to the podium? We are very proud of your achievement. This is a school that got me first hooked into administration, so I have mixed feelings. Just kidding. We are very proud of your achievement, and we thank you for all you do for our students, staff, and the community of Kennedy Middle School. Please help me in showing our appreciation for Kennedy Middle School.
Principal wants to go.
It's innovation. That's right. Good luck with the stairs. Just kidding.
Well done. Thank you very much. It was exciting. Nice to finally meet you. Sarah talks about you so often. You know? I feel like I have a connection. Yeah, exactly. You do? Yes, I do. Just the other side of my geographic boundary.
Our next recognition this evening will be introduced by Madeline Cerna-Marmol, Assistant Superintendent of Equity, Instruction, and Support.
Good evening, members of the school board, Superintendent Reedy, staff, and community members. Tonight, we have the honor of recognizing exceptional teams that help with distributing backpacks and school supplies. In order to more efficiently and equitably reach APS students for school year 18-19, the Office of Equity, Instruction, and Support created a plan to streamline a backpack and school supply distribution system. Imagine the work it takes to distribute school supplies to 12,500 students, about 15% of our total school district population. After K-3+ summer adventure learning programs and Title I programs, 6,500 backpacks were distributed to students at grade levels K through 8 at 58 schools. The backpacks were fully loaded with supplies such as notebooks, calculators, pencils, and markers by curriculum and instruction staff. Language and Cultural Equity distributed 5,000 backpacks for English learners K through 8 at 21 schools across the district. Indian Education distributed almost 1,000 boxes of school supplies for Native American students at all grade levels. Additional backpacks were delivered to the APS Clothing Bank to distribute directly to schools for students in need as identified by teachers and school counselors. We would like to acknowledge the following staff who made the backpack distribution possible, from ordering to sorting, packing, and distributing the backpacks to our students. Please bear with me because it's a long list. As I call your name, would you please come to the podium and stand to my left? From the Curriculum and Instruction team, Amy Malazzo, Executive Director, Jamie Jacobson, Senior Director Elementary, Carla Cano, Summer School Coordinator, Charmaine Sanchez, Specialist Summer School. From the Library Services and Instructional Materials team, Rachel Altabelli, Director, Yvette Dodge, Supervisor, SDC, Kevin Denton, SDC Warehouse, Andreas Edel, SDC Warehouse, Elaine Gallegos, SDC Warehouse, Angelina Jaramillo, SDC Warehouse, Christina Tuller, Multimedia Clerk, Joanne Ortiz, Shipper and Receiver, and AJ Benavides, Shipper Receiver. From the Materials Management team, Dale Crescent, Manager, Jerry Viescas, Warehouse Receiving and Shipping, and Joshua Nairati, Driver. From the Language and Cultural Equity team, Jessica Villalobos, Senior Director, Gabri Rivera, Family Community Liaison, Cheryl Armijo, Senior Director Secretary, Sandra Alvarado, Instructional Manager, Richard Cisneros, Instructional Manager. From the Indian Education team, Dr. Daisy Thompson, Director, Jay Leonard, Instructional Manager, Elizabeth Trujillo, Secretary, Aina Adsi, Data Clerk, Lydia Martinez, Bookkeeper, Malaysia Persinger, 11th grader at La Cueva High School, Brooklyn Persinger, 9th grader at La Cueva High School, Mackenzie Johnson, 11th grader at Cibola High School, Ginger Looney, Resource Teacher at S.R. Marmon Elementary School, Roberta Armijo, Resource Teacher at Hodgen Elementary School, Carrie Kirchhoff, Resource Teacher at Governor Bent Elementary School, Josephine Medrano, Resource Teacher at Tres Volcanes Community K through 8 School, Elizabeth Ortega Choate, Resource Teacher at Painted Sky Elementary School, Juanita Harjo, Resource Teacher at Janet Kahn School of Integrated Arts. Would the family and friends of these exceptional team members please stand so they can greet you? Thank you for all the ways you are key to our students' success. Let's show our appreciation again for these team members. It truly takes a village.
you.
Thank you for your work. Really appreciate it. And now we just need to talk to girls and teachers.
Yes, right?
Yes.
Perfect, thank you.
Well, I haven't told you, but my niece, my youngest niece that just got married in August, she went to school and decided now, she graduated and decided, I love kids. I want to go back to school and be a teacher. Finally, there's somebody in the family, you know? There's one. So I'm excited. It is exciting.
All right.
All right. Tonight we have the honor of recognizing an extraordinary staff. The APS Clothing Bank is staffed by one full-time specialist, a part-time manager who also oversees volunteer programs and partnerships for the district, a part-time technician, and a family engagement unit liaison. In spite of their small numbers, they do big things for the district. Last year, with the help of their community partners, the APS Clothing Bank provided around 3,000 packages of socks and underwear, 2,300 clothing vouchers, 1,600 heavy winter coats, approximately 2,000 jackets and hoodies, and 1,800 pairs of shoes. They also provided 174 formal outfits for high school proms. Many of these outfits were provided through trunk shows at schools. Clothing provided to students is purchased with monetary donations gathered from 4 donation collection sites around the city, sorted for jackets, coats, and uniforms, sorted by sizes and gender, sorted by individual student requests for each school, and driven to schools. In addition, last year, more than 3,300 students were provided school supplies. School supplies are obtained, sorted, packed, and delivered to every district and district charter school, district school and district charter school. It takes a village and more than 2,000 volunteer hours to receive, sort, pack, and distribute the school supplies. Transition services students are an invaluable asset to this process, and the experience provides a critical real-life job learning opportunity for them. The APS Education Foundation, the Assistance League, the Corporate Volunteer Council, Goodwill Industries, KOAT Channel 7, Locker 505, the United Way of Central New Mexico, and many APS departments are vital to the success of the clothing bank. These partners make significant donations of money, supplies, and time, in addition to helping deliver, sort, and store clothing and school supplies. Several of the Clothing Bank staff members were able to join us today. As I call your name, would you please come to the podium? Elizabeth Calhoun, Anna Dabria, Eric Liu, and Monica Garcia. Would the family and friends of these staff members please stand so that we can greet you? Thank you for all the ways you support student success. Let's show our appreciation for the Clothing Bank staff. Thank you.
Great team. Thank you so much. Thank you for your Thank you so much. Our kids rely on you all. Thank you.
So, yeah, so we have one last recognition this evening, and it's a birthday celebration for our very own Scott Elder and Lorenzo Garcia, celebrating their birthdays this week. Yeah. So it says here I'm supposed to say, please join me in singing happy birthday, but I have like the worst voice. So I think this is Dr. Piercy's job.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Scott and Lorenzo. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you. All right.
Test this right.
Okay, so that concludes our recognition, and congratulations again to everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight. We're now going to begin a public forum. Okay. So whether you are here with the request for the Board of Education to consider, provide information, or just see how the Board of Education operates, we want you to know that you are welcome. The Board of Education has established rules for expected civil behavior during the meeting and public forum. And upon signing in to speak tonight, you received a signature form and copy of the procedural directive which outlined those rules for expected behavior. The presiding officer will enforce these rules as appropriate throughout the meeting. Tonight, there are 4 speakers, and therefore, to accommodate the greatest number of speakers, each speaker has 2 minutes for comments within the 45-minute public forum. The time remaining to speak will appear on the screen in front of you. You may not yield your unused time to another speaker. You are always welcome to submit additional comments to the board in writing if you're unable to convey your message or you're not able to speak within the 45-minute public forum. The Board of Education encourages you to stay for the entirety of the meeting so you may listen to board member comments before we adjourn. Only at this time may your concerns be addressed at the discretion of each board member. So the first speaker is Alan R. McKenney. Up at the podium, sir. Still need you at the microphone.
I'm going to refer to my notes on my phone if you don't mind. And hope you all have had a wonderful day today.
Thank you.
First of all, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to say thank you for allowing me to speak to you this evening. My name is Alan McKenney. I'm an educational, I'm in special education at Sandia High School. I'm an educational assistant. I know I have a time limit. I'll get to this right away. This is my 5th year at Sandia, and I've enjoyed this very much. I felt that the special education department has not been supported by APS or by the board this year, to be honest with you. We have 2 IGS-2 students in our classes, and they are extremely violent. They've attacked all vulnerable children in our class. So we have to protect these children. And they have attacked and will attack all vulnerable children, as well as the staff, for that matter. And this has been very demoralizing for all EAs, teachers, for us not to be able to carry through with the teaching plans a teacher sets out for the day because of the violent, disruptive nature of these 2 students. And they're not receiving the proper care that they need, I might add. I have several students that will not even come into the room anymore for instructions. They are scared and they're fearful, and they have every right to be, because they've been kicked, they've been scratched, they've been spit upon by these 2 other students, and they can't help themselves. I understand that. We've had an incident of one of these students throwing feces at an EA and a teacher. And plus, he consistently threatens to do this again, every day. Now, the consistent swearing and threats and the physical assaults is something that's not unusual for IGS-2 students. However, when these other students, our students are in a violent atmosphere right now. they're scared. They truly are. That's why a lot of them will not come in the room. And the teachers, the EAs like myself, we feel great pride when an IGS-2 student is able to learn something. We can teach them something, and they retain it. It's great. It's not happening now.
And
we're not able to teach them. We can't, because we can't carry on with the normal class.
Thank you so much for your input. The two minutes are up, and so I really appreciate you coming tonight. Thank you.
Well, I thought I had this down to 2 minutes and 44 seconds. I was wrong. Anyway, I just ask that you please help us out.
Thank you. Our second speaker is Sharmila Garadia. I may not have said that right. I'm so sorry.
Good evening, Superintendent Reedy, school board members, guests. Thank you for letting me speak today. My name is Sharmila Garadia. My daughter is a second grader at Bandelier Elementary School. I am a former APS high school teacher and a current PTA volunteer. Tonight, my concerns are twofold. First, our school and others have been experiencing a decline in enrollment the past few years, which is affecting a school's ability to offer services, as well as appropriate class sizes and stability for our children. A week ago, Bandelier lost a second grade teacher. Each time something like this happens, it causes turmoil in our communities and produces an overall negative perception of public education. Parents lose faith in the system and believe pulling their children and placing them in charter schools will solve their problem. Though there are other reasons for this drop, my focus is the continued support of charter schools by APS. Many parents have a misconception that about charter schools. Charter schools have ways to selectively build an achievement-driven student body. Many do not provide services that meet the needs of lower socioeconomic or special needs students. They have the ability to weed out students that do not meet their expectations or have tuition-based pre-K programs as an in to enrollment. Additionally, it destroys community cohesiveness and creates a myopic view of education that benefits the individual at the expense of the community. I have to do what is best for my child without regard to the impact it will have on all children. Furthermore, it stretches already heavily stretched dollars as we divvy up money to more and more schools. School choice is an illusion that fundamentally undermines our neighborhood schools and erodes the community. Second, there is a lack of parent voice in policy and procedure and an overly bureaucratic system that further inhibits parent input. Every year, more and more policies are implemented that restrict parents' access to their child's school. This compounds the issue stated previously, further contributing to a growing negative perception of our neighborhood schools.
And I'm sorry, your time is up. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Karen Kieffer.
I'll be finishing Sharmila's comments for you this evening. She left off with, this compounds the issue stated previously, further contributing to a growing negative perception of our neighborhood schools. This district will educate my child and other children over the course of 14 impressionable years. I have yet to have a say beyond my vote in how this system educates my child. Last year, I volunteered in a PED initiative, the Family Cabinet, a forum for parents to participate in educational policies and procedures. Regardless of the Cabinet's inadequacies, it brought parents' voices in at the state level and enabled me to talk directly to PED department heads and the Secretary of Education at a very personal level on many occasions. When do I get to sit with APS department heads or speak with our superintendent? The APS website has a few pages about family engagement. What family engagement is this? I have never received an email or note about a family engagement meeting, and most instructional councils at our schools do very little to encourage or engage the community. There needs to be consistent, ongoing, interactive decision-making community forums that engage and connect parents directly to APS and our schools. APS and PED are making educational policies and procedures without input from a very core and invested group, parents. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. And our final speaker tonight is Janet Sayers.
Good evening, members of the board, Madam Superintendent, excuse me, staff, guests. So I just wanted very quickly to thank board members Garcia, Muller-Aragon, and President Piercy for coming to our 60th anniversary of Hodgen Elementary School. It was a good morning, a lot of interaction, former students, former teachers, former principals. So I thank you all for being part of that, and also Mr. Hughes, Troy Hughes, for coming. We are keeping up for this year a website put together by an APS graduate and Del Norte graduate, Dan Jones, called Hodgen Celebrates 60, where people with a connection to Hodgen can send in a memory on the website, and we'll post it. And so hopefully that will result with some very interesting comments. And then third, the day before we had our Hodgen event, there was this fabulous thing that I didn't know about till just a couple days prior, and that was the every child at Hodgen got a new pair of shoes on Friday, and then our event was Saturday. And this was through the Assistance League and Kirky Cares, the Channel 13. And I mean, it was just wonderful being with the children, and you know, they were so proud of their new shoes and all the different colors and sparkles and everything. So I'm going to make a contribution to that. I learned about how that works. And lastly, Coronado was here tonight, and I learned that there was an architect, Louis Hesselden, who designed Hodgen, but he also designed dozens of APS buildings in the 1930s through the 60s, and that was one of them. And I'm hoping to learn more about Mr. Hesselden. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your input tonight. That concludes the public forum.
Thank you. We'll go on to the superintendent's report.
Thank you, President Piercy, board members, community members, and staff. APS has 427 open vacancy postings and 14,728 employees. In that context, APS has 2.9% vacancy rate, and it is oh so painful. So far this year, we have hired 612 new classroom employees. APS has the following open vacancy postings as of Monday: 36 elementary school vacancies, 16 middle school vacancies, 15 high school vacancies. I have to take my breath for this one, and 130 special education vacancies. Just for your information, UNM graduated about 30 special education teachers this year. APS was able to hire less than 10 of them, as most went to other districts and many back to their hometowns. By comparison, at this time last year, we had 42 elementary school vacancies, 8 middle school vacancies, 15 high school vacancies, and 122 special education vacancies, meaning that we have 10 more open positions than last year at the same time, and many, many less candidates. APS currently employs 6,433 Schedule A employees. These are employees, they're teachers, librarians, counselors, nurses, and other classroom employees that work directly with students. We also employ 1,863 educational assistants. APS currently has 98 open EA positions. That is 5.26% vacancy rate for EAs. APS and other districts in New Mexico have a supply and demand problem. A Yazzie lawsuit proposed remedy, which is one of many suggestions that we have heard of, recommends a consideration to increase teacher salaries. If we were to do this, this would go a long way in helping to address the acute and pervasive teacher shortage problem that we are facing today. The remedy proposes, and again, what's one of many, and it's just everyone is thinking, but that remedy proposes to increase the current 3-tier levels salaries from $36,000, $44,000, and $54,000 to a beginning salary of $45,000, $55,000 for Tier 2, and $65,000 for Tier 3. This proposed remedy will help both ends of the employment pipeline, as well as looking at our efforts and helping our efforts as recruitment and retention. For the 17-18 school year, APS had 789 A-schedule employees separate from the district. So that was for that entire year, and this was retirement, leaving, termination, all of that. Now let me explain this. For the current 18-19 school year, and that's between July and September the 7th, so what we're talking 2 months, from the district, we had APS had 423 A-schedule employees separate from APS. That, I think, tells you gives you a very vivid picture. As you can see from these numbers, in a time where we do not have teachers in the front end of the pipeline, we really need to focus on our retention efforts. The school climate, teacher workload, and the PED evaluation systems all play a part in what we are seeing today. Principal Joe Sloan of Del Norte High School just lost what she called an absolutely great teacher. And when that teacher was asked, "Why are you leaving?" She said that she loves the school, she loves the kids, and she really works well with the administration, but she cannot take the PED's evaluation system. And so she left. This is what we're seeing on a daily basis. So what are we doing? In addition to in-state and out-of-state recruiting, we are actively recruiting in Puerto Rico, Mexico, and the Philippines. APS is aggressively advertising with radio spots and billboards, as well as recruiting websites such as EdJoin, NM, REAP, and Indeed. And we will be doing an advertising blitz during the week of Balloon Fiesta. I've woken up several times at midnight, and I have come up with a lot of creative ideas.
She has.
And we're moving forward with some of them. We also have several partnerships that are helping us recruit and keep teachers. We have a partnership with C&M for a special education certification and teacher licensure preparation. The Albuquerque Teachers Residency Partnership is a partnership with APS, ATF, and UNM that provides a pathway to the teaching profession for aspiring teachers with a bachelor's degree now have a new pathway to the profession through this unique partnership. Teacher residents in the program receive intensive mentoring and master's teachers in APS classrooms while completing their New Mexico teaching license, and if they choose, a master's degree. We offer career pathways for our educational assistants to become teachers, and that's something that we need to publicize more and more because we have some great educational assistants that just need that extra impetus and that's the kind of support to move into the teaching ranks. We have a partnership with UNM and CNM and the Highlands University on teacher preparation programs for regular education and special education licensure. And we're also collaborating with ATF to offer a comprehensive new teacher mentoring program and a peer assistance review program, or PAR, to help support experienced teachers in the profession. We're having a lot of new people, and we need to be able to help the new people, but we also have to support the people that have been on board with us for years. APS, and I can't say this enough, APS is a great place to work, and I have hopes that our extensive efforts will help others discover that too. If you know anybody that is interested in pursuing any of these, please be sure and let me know. Last week at the Legislative Education Study Committee, it met at Hawthorne Elementary School to conduct its monthly meeting. The school staff and students were truly gracious hosts. Presentations were given by APS staff as well as other districts from around the state. Lunch each day was provided by the culinary program at El Dorado, Sandia, and Atrisco Heritage High School. I'm very thankful for all the hard work that went into hosting this 3-day program, and I think everybody left feeling really good about the work that has been done at Hawthorne. On Monday, several members of the Public Education Department celebrated 17 APS schools and 5 APS charter schools that received an A as their school grade. Coronado Elementary School, Sunset View Elementary School, La Cueva High School, and Eisenhower Middle School hosted the celebrations for the schools that were in their area. And the celebrations included a tour of the school and opportunities to visit with students and staff, and some great, lovely singing and other show-off kinds of activities. I'm very proud of the work these schools and that these schools have done, and all that, actually all of APS, and what these schools are doing to meet the unique and varied needs of their particular students and communities. This concludes the superintendent's report. Thank you.
Thank you, Superintendent Reedy. We'll go on to special issues. The first one is the presentation of Families Connected Initiative and how video learning sessions support family engagement. It's a discussion item, and Dr. Madeline Cernan-Marmol, Assistant Superintendent of Equity, Instruction, and Sport, and Shalana Carter, Manager of Family Engagement.
So I'm very pleased this evening to introduce Shalana Carter, our Manager for Family Engagement. She'll be speaking on Families Connected Initiative and how video learning sessions support family engagement.
Good evening, President of the Board, members of the community, and APS staff. Thank you so much for having me here tonight. My name is Shalana Carter, and I'm the Manager of Family Engagement for the district. I originally brought this project before the board in March, and tonight I would like to give an update on our progress and show one video. Okay. So Families Connected is an online learning series that we designed to facilitate APS families access to information about how to be engaged in their child's learning and how to navigate the district. Videos are short information sessions that aim to answer common questions in an easy to understand format. Our objectives are to provide families with critical information that supports them in being actively engaged in their students' learning and the goals of their school, and to provide families with a tool to support family engagement and leadership opportunities at the school level and at the district level. So access is very important to our families. We wanted to create something that was modern and accessible to families at any time. Our videos can be accessed online via YouTube and can be viewed at home, on a smartphone, a tablet, or at school events and family centers. All of our content is available in Spanish and English, with videos in more languages being developed. So it takes quite a while to develop everything, so we're working on more languages. Everyone is encouraged to subscribe to the YouTube channel for notifications about new content. So every time we post a new video, it's going to go onto YouTube so that it can be shared in multiple formats. And so the subscribe button that's circled on the page there is exactly where we want people to press. So anybody who has their smartphone out and you go to YouTube, you search for our channel, you hit subscribe right there, that means that you'll get all of our content as soon as it comes out. At this time, we have a total of 29 videos up on our YouTube channel. And we're working on a continued list of topics. So we have probably 3 years worth of content to develop, and so we're working on getting that out as soon as possible. We try to produce at least 2 new videos per month, although sometimes that takes a little longer, or sometimes we have 4. So all of our new content is also announced on Twitter and Facebook, so those are sample posts that we have showing the videos that go up onto social media. Our big ask is that you show your support by following us on social media and sharing with your constituents. So we're going to watch one video tonight. The video that we're going to watch is called Finding Your School. This video was made to show families how to use the Find Your School tool on the APS website. It has step-by-step instructions of how to use the tool, and we're trying to encourage people really to go to the APS website to find information that they're looking for. This is an example of how-to videos that we're working to produce and that make practical information available to families. So we can go ahead and watch the video now.
Here at APS, students are required to attend the school in the area in which they live. Whether you've moved into a new area or are new to Albuquerque, you will need to know what school your child will be going to in the coming year. APS has an easy tool to help. Simply go to aps.edu. On the right sidebar, click on the Find My School button. This will take you to the Find My School tool. At the top, you can type in your address. Your address will show as a star on the map. Elementary schools are represented in red, middle schools are in blue, and high schools in yellow on the map. Click on your child's grade level and it will show you the school in your area. Once you click on a school, it will show you its location on the map and the boundary limits for that school in the coordinated color. You can turn this feature on and off by clicking on the boundary button on the left sidebar. This sidebar will show the name of the school, address, and phone number. If you click on the direction button, it will open a new tab to Google Maps. Here you can type in your address and get directions to the school. If you click on the website button, it will open up a new tab to the school's website where you can get more information about the school. Each color-coded section will give you the same tools and features. Now that you know how to use this simple and easy tool, you can find out which schools are in your area, how to get directions to the school, and how to check your child's school website for more information. If you would like your child to attend a school outside of your area, you can apply for a transfer. For more information on transfers, visit the transfer section on aps.edu. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to check out our other topics.
That's one of the many topics that we've developed. There was a preview there for school gardens. We recently made a video about the over 80 school gardens that APS has. We have videos about how to find services here in this building. So when families come into this building, sometimes they don't know exactly where to go. So we made a little video about how to find things here in this building. That's one of our most popular videos. We have videos about attendance. We have videos about different things that are happening in our schools. We're about to release one on our out-of-school time programs that talks about how families can access out-of-school time before or after school for their children. And so we're working on many topics, and in your packet you should have a fact sheet and a page about our social media. That'll give you more information about this project and how to find us on social media. It would mean so much to my unit and our work if you would show your support for this project by following us on social media and sharing our posts with your own followers so that people will see that you've shared different videos that we produce. I stand for questions.
Board member comments, questions?
I have a comment.
All right, Board member Armijo.
I love the video. I love the idea. I love the social media approach. And I'm just wondering if you talked to the public forum folks who were interested in family engagement. So
I made a note on my notebook to talk to Bandolier about their family engagement. So we'll be reaching out to them next week to talk about the other stuff we do.
So it's too bad that they didn't stay to hear the additional comments.
I agree.
We actually had a presentation on family engagement. So yeah, if you'll just follow up with them, appreciate it. And again, I look forward to sharing, you know, I was Facebooking earlier in reference to Kennedy Middle School. So it'd be my pleasure to share this information on social media as well. So
thank you so much.
Thanks, and thanks for the work.
Dr. Peterson?
Board member Peterson?
Let Board Member Patterson.
Okay, Board member Patterson?
Okay. Thank you so much for this information. I was able to access a lot of the information. One of the things I wanted to ask is, how do you reach out to our homeless population?
So we're working at the school level to develop a toolkit that all of our content can be used at the school level and do events there. So if people don't have devices or if they don't have internet access, we want to bring them to the school or even community centers to make that information available to them. And then at the same time, make sure that we're providing information about resources that are available to support them in other areas.
So you're talking about community centers, you're talking about the community centers in the local areas, in the neighborhoods? And so this would apply to the homeless as well as our immigrant population?
It would apply to any population. We want to be accessible to all of our families at APS. We're working on specific toolkits that support school staff like family liaisons who are able to reach out to those populations.
And they would be the ones that would contact some of these families then? All right, thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Great. Other comments? Board member Peterson?
Yeah, I think the fun thing about this is that it is in a format that a lot of our parents are used to and familiar with and comfortable with, and there's a lot of information. What I'm going to say now, I actually was going to do in board member comments, but I'll throw it out now since it came up. That I think we keep finding good ways to get information out, and I think this is really an excellent one, and it crossed my mind that things like just posting the APS website at the libraries where people go to use computers and other public access places, it might be a good place to have a page of information of how to access APS, and because this is definitely a friendly format. I think that the other thing that we keep struggling with, and social media might be part of the solution, but I think the concern that Sharmila brought up, and she and I have talked, I mean, I've been in communication with Bandolier parents a lot in the last week because of their concerns. And her concern is, how does communication go the other way? And I think that's the thing that we keep struggling with is, I mean, we need to keep getting better and better at getting our information out there, but it's really finding those access points for the community to have access to us, to give us their input. And that's the hardest thing. I know
Board Member Patterson keeps really struggling with that, or working to support that in the Equity and Inclusion Committee. I know that we've had different formats over the years for an advisory committee, and I think that was really the ask, is how do we have the two-way communication? We keep working, getting better on this one, and that's, we've got to do that, and that's really just an open question for all of us, because, and that was really when I spoke to her, one of the things that she talked about is, it's not the policies of the PED that she's in agreement. In fact, she has huge concerns that she's shared about that. But it's really and truly, at least the feeling that there is an opportunity to sit down and have that conversation. And so maybe that can be the next presentation. How do we start addressing that part of it?
Yeah, I look forward to utilizing some of your suggestions, and I think in our other work we do some training around two-way communication for schools, and so we want to make sure that we can ramp that up at the same time.
Yeah, but thank you for this.
The comments, Board Member Miller again.
So when were these videos put out? Was this last spring?
So we've been putting out videos every month starting in February. So we started with the first 6 in February, and we did events around some of those, and some of you were able to attend our events, and we thank you so much for that. But we've continued to put out videos since then. So we're up to 29 now. We've been putting out videos almost every month. You know, like I said, sometimes it's 2 a month, sometimes it's 4 a month. We have a range of what we're putting out each month.
Okay, and then I know you said that you had 1,400 views, right? So that was since February, or is that?
That is since February. So we reached 1,400 views at the beginning of September, so it's actually a bit higher now.
Okay, so what are you doing to try to really increase those views? I mean, my concern, as well as the same as Member Patterson, is a lot of families that don't have transportation, that aren't comfortable being at schools. There are those populations that won't get to the school, or they won't get to a library. So, I mean, it would be nice to have like a mobile video van. I don't know. I mean, we need to figure out what we can do for that population. And also, I don't know, I know the school messenger is kind of a hard, because I mean, that's a hard one to do, but I don't know if that's a way to try to maybe get that information out there, using our billboards a little bit, you know, a little bit more. I mean, I just would like to know what your thoughts are about trying to increase that and help those populations.
So that is actually one of the reasons that we're trying to do this big push on social media, is that we found that that's really the way that a lot of families are communicating. And we put a lot of effort into Facebook this summer, trying to build that page up and communicate it. And we saw a huge increase in the number of views that we had on our videos. And so we know that that was reaching the public and that they were responsive to it. So that's one of the reasons that we're focusing on this big social media campaign. But all of those other ideas are lovely things that I want to explore, figuring out how do we make the information accessible to people in as many different ways as possible, because I think there is not one size fits all solution. We have to reach out to our families where they are and get this information to them exactly at that point.
And then I know I think you said right now you had 29 videos, and we're like a dozen of them translated to Spanish so far.
So we have 12 completed in Spanish, yes.
So all 29 will be translated.
The 29 includes the versions that are in Spanish, so it's about 14 different topics right now, and then some of those are in English and some are in Spanish. And so we have 2 videos that we are waiting for the Spanish versions to be finalized, and we work with our translations department here through APS to make sure that that is ready to go.
Okay, and then other languages, how many other languages are you looking at, and what's the time frame for those coming online?
So we've looked at other languages, and we're trying to focus on the languages that are most commonly brought up within APS. So we have a total of 7 different languages that we are trying to work on. I don't have a timeline for when we would have every single piece of content developed, because one of the more challenging aspects of this is getting someone to be in the video that speaks that language and is willing to be in a video. So we're working with different families. We actually have a welcome video that we recently produced. It's not totally finished, so it should be up on our YouTube page within the next few weeks, but we were able to work with families, and we had 9 different languages represented in the welcome video. So we're trying to say welcome to APS in the language that most of our families speak.
Right. And looking at the newcomer program, because they are trying to really get to those communities, I think that's a way to get people that speak that language. I mean, they can speak the language, so I'm sure, I would hope anyway, they would want to be part of the video. So that's somebody.
Absolutely. I mean, we made some headway working on our welcome video for this year, so we'll keep in touch with those contacts and start working on it. So we had a small blip this year where we just had a new videographer join us, so we'll be getting back up to speed.
Right. And then we need to know that there are all kinds of other ways to engage parents, that this isn't something that everybody really wants to be engaged that way. So we need to make sure that we're all looking at different ways, because like you said, one size doesn't fit all. So some parents are not comfortable this way, but there's other ways to engage them. So I think that's something that we need to make sure that we are looking at as well.
Absolutely, and we continue to support the schools with a variety of strategies to do family engagement in many ways. This is one tool that we focused on that we wanted to present to you.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Other comments? Board Member Yolanda.
Thank you, because I appreciate the information, and I also agree. It's just like, sort of keeping up with like how we're evaluating the impact, right? Who's actually able to see it? What are some of our challenges in getting out the information? I think the part that struck me is like, because we had the public forum first and the conversation, and it's important to have activities that we do for families, that we actually do for them. But I think what the question now is, and I think the stretch for us is, what do we do with families? How do we incorporate their voice with us so that decision-making that we're doing, or like this project, for example, how was it done with families so that we could assure that the way that we're delivering it really was taking into account what their voice is in it as well, in terms of how would it work for them, with them. I often think of the disability community, because when I worked in the disability community, it's like nothing about us without us kind of approach. So that would be something that I would be interested in. In terms of like looping it in places where families are, I think is where we need to look. What was coming to mind for me were places like public health offices, WIC offices, doctors' offices, where families generally gather, and they're looking at, this loop of information that's going on, like what's our partnership with perhaps those kinds of entities, so that we could loop that information into places where families are. So that was just my brainstorm on what I thought could be there. But thank you. I mean, I think the information is important. And it's important to have information for families. My push is just, how do we do something with families in a broader way?
Yeah, I think shared decision-making is a core component of the work that we do. We actually did 10 events at schools last semester. We had 304 adult participants that came to those 10 events, and we did essentially focus groups with families. So we screened like 6 videos and then asked for their feedback, and then also asked for them to help influence the videos that we make in the future. So giving them the option to give feedback about the topics that we have, what we've already produced, and then open to suggestion of anything else that they would like to see. So we're working in family feedback into each piece of this process. As we're moving forward, we're trying to get to the point where we have families that are with us on those scripts. And so for some of the programs that we work with, we've been very lucky to have families come and participate in that process. And so now it's about making that ingrained into the process so that every video gets the opportunity to be vetted by our families. So,
and that's great, because I really appreciate the shared decision-making around that. And now, sort of as we move and we grow, because I think it's going to develop as you guys develop, but how do we get into a place of shared leadership too, right? Absolutely. So that they get to own and maybe direct what's going to be our next steps and our next strategies moving forward, so that we have families that are engaged with us in a really meaningful way, where it's not just about we need your input, but they're actually leading the project.
I agree.
So thank you.
Board Member Garcia.
Thank you. This is a lovely presentation. You've done a great job. Well done. And I just have some questions and minor observations. One, I think we have to really think about how we can be strategic, and my suggestion would be who would and who could you begin to impact. And in some cases, it may make strategic sense to prioritize, such as the presentation that we heard the other day, and I can't remember the young man's name, about outreach to the Swahili speaking community. That you have someone who speaks 5 languages with that program now, there may be an opportunity to just quickly put something together as an introduction to APS. And I really appreciate, I wanted to say something about this, the idea that, you know, we as board, as staff, get into a place where we can say, so what do you like about what you see happening at this school, and where could we do better? You know, just always having that as part of the leverage conversation to be able to, you know, sort of fine-tune our antenna. I thought the Native American Summit yesterday was quite inspiring, and that there may be opportunities for some of the staff to actually translate some of your videos that way. You know, my concern is just that, you know, how can we begin to just make this small groups that you described, where we're looking for feedback, trying to come up with ways to do better, part of our day-to-day just operation. And one thought, just sort of in thinking, reflecting on the superintendent's comments about the need for staff, I mean, I know there's people out there that are really looking for a good place to work, and certainly APS can be that good place. Could we do some kind of video about would you like to work at APS, or we'd like you to work at APS? That's put out in different languages, that allows for people to come in, because they may not think that they have skills. But what we have to communicate is that their skills in just being able to relate to parents, or being able to relate to diverse populations that we can't relate to, I think would be important. To just at least kind of stoke up the recruiting opportunity, because a lot of times we wait and think that people will come to us, but you have to figure out which udder you're going to milk, you know, to get something. And we have a number of sister organizations, you know, whether it's within the various immigrant communities, that I think there are people that would definitely want to know a little bit how to be part of the APS family. And I always say this, I haven't done it in a while, but visiting some of the communities where I think of the black community where there are so many churches, and sort of reaching to those ministers and people who help those institutions function, but where they get a sense that we're concerned about them, or the Asian community, for example, the Japanese or Chinese communities. I think we could always sort of be very intentional that way, and I'm hoping that you can help us do that, and they can in turn help you have an even better sort of array of things we want to talk about. So
I think those are all really wonderful suggestions, and I look forward into integrating that into our work. And I think we have a project with communications working on a series of videos about innovation in APS that I think will be very useful for trying to help with recruitment.
yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Charmaine. Just a couple of questions. How do I know that this exists?
That is exactly what we're working on right now, is getting this out to as many people as possible so that they know that it exists. One of the strategies that's been suggested and we hope to really put into play is making sure that this information goes home at the school level and that it appears on school websites.
So I can go to the APS website right now and I don't see it, as an example.
So on the family engagement page within Coordinated School Health.
No. I want a big button on the home page that says Family Connected.
Me too.
And when you hover over
I also want that.
and when you hover over it, it tells you something about it so that, you are not confused by where to go. I mean, I can always tell you, yes, I can go this way and that way, and by that time I've lost most of the people. So the point is, if you really want somebody to know something, you put a big button there. You put something that hovers over. It's something that enables you to see what in the world's going on with that button, and you go there. Otherwise, you're going to lose people.
So we're hoping to get our Welcome to APS video on the main web page, on the main page when people get there at first, and then that would hopefully key them in, and then they would go right to it. So yes, I agree with you. I want us right there on the front page.
If I'm looking for how do I get connected with somebody I want answers to, I would not go to a Welcome APS video. I mean, a button. So there's got to be something there that tells me this is what's going to help me understand what things are. Now, you're a small part of this, so that's one of the problems, and that's what all the board members have really been saying to some extent, is that this is great, but it's kind of a small part of the really bigger picture.
Absolutely.
And how we do that. But if you really want to get to Family Connected, you got to have something right there. Same thing I wouldn't know. I try to stay off this social media, to tell you the truth. I try to stay off Facebook. I don't do Twitter. I try not to get involved in that because I would probably, who knows what I would get in trouble with. But the point is that how would anybody know, Just because I'm going on Twitter, how would I know anything about this? Just because I got Facebook, but how would I know anything about this, see? So the point is, that's the question of getting things out. And we're doing all kinds of wonderful things. But the question is, how do I know that? Because I didn't know anything about this, other than your previous kinds of things, kind of in passing, to do this, okay? And I look pretty frequently on the APS website, and I look pretty frequently at stuff, and I was never keyed into, whoa, there's some videos that tells me what to do here. So that's one question about that. And but I am generally impressed, even though board members always query about community and have you involved them and so forth. I'm usually pretty impressed with the fact that you have. In other words, you have involved community, you have involved families, you have involved parents with things. I think sometimes we think that's not the case. And I'm impressed with the fact that in most of these initiatives we do, you have in fact involved the community. You in fact gone out and you have asked questions. Now maybe not every single person out there, but you have involved community in terms of some of the decisions and what you're trying to do. So I think that is ingrained in what we're doing in these initiatives. I don't say that we're certainly perfect in doing that. The vangular person would want to know how we do family engagement. Well, there are lots of things that are going on in family engagement. I mean, I got PTAs, I got all kinds of ways to do that. And I'm not sure that any of the comments she may have made at the PD family thing actually took hold on anything. So part of the deal is, are you really being heard? Are you really getting your questions answered or at least put out there with somebody who really does care? And I think we do a lot of that. We have lots of community meetings. We have lots of things that we do, just like the tribal thing we did with the Indian tribal leaders. I was very impressed with that. The stuff we did with the LESC, and we had kids who were bussed up from Washington Middle School. And thank you, Scott. Thank you, Scott. You made that happen. I think that was a big deal for the LESC folks to see a bunch of students there. In other words, we're trying to say, yeah, this is important. And so I appreciate that. So I think we're doing some things. We're not perfect, but I appreciate what you've done. And so thank you very much. And maybe make a big button. I don't know. I like big buttons.
I will pass along those comments. And I would invite all the members of the board that when you have questions that you hear from families, that you let us know, and we can maybe develop content that helps us share our voice and being responsive to families.
And as an example, not everybody knows how to get on YouTube. Not everybody knows exactly what to do. So there's a little step-by-step thing that says, go here, do this, put these things exactly in. For example, if I look at your APS Families Connected, there's a little space in there. Does the space happen? Do I need a space in there? Or do I not need a space?
Probably don't need a space, but
there you
need
go.
APS, because we have found
But
that
there you
there's
go.
another program called Connected Families.
There you
If
go.
don't
See, but
include APS, you
the point I'm
mix it all
making,
in.
the point I'm making is that if you got the video here and you got the things, I see a space there. I'm very detailed. In fact, the spaces count. And so I would put a space in there. And if I didn't get what I wanted, I would wonder what I'm doing. Well, I would actually try other things, but not everybody would. So it's very important to be very precise about how to get where you want to be. And so that's another part of that whole thing, that I think is important to communicate in a simple way. Step 1, 2, 3, and you got it. So thank you very much. Okay.
Thank you so much.
So we'll go on to item B, which is the briefing on the 2018 Charter Renewal Plan. That's a discussion item. Debbie Elder, Executive Director of Office of Innovation School Choice, and Dr. Joseph Escobedo, Senior Director of Office of Innovation School Choice, and many other things that you do.
Mr. President, members of the committee, I did want to, or of the board, Superintendent Reedy, happy birthday, Mr. Elder and Mr. Garcia. I did want to introduce to you a member of our team who is a coordinator in our office supporting the charter schools. She did start in June. Her name is Amy Chase, and so she is overseeing the renewal plan in our work. So in your packets is a briefing on our renewal applications, and this is part of our cyclical process. By October 1st, per state statute, schools who are up for renewal or their contracts ending in July shall submit a renewal application either to the Public Education Commission or the local school district. We have received 4 applications. One from the Albuquerque Charter Academy, which we currently authorize, and 3 from schools that are currently authorized by the Public Education Commission: Coral Community School, Gilbert L. Sena Charter High School, and the New America School. In your package, you will see the timeline for our work. We will come back to you December 12th at the APS Board of Education Policy and Instruction Committee to give you our recommendations. Through that, you will see that we will have a 7-member team that's made up of 3 department staff, 2 APS administrators, and 2 charter school administrators who will review each application. We will perform a site visit. We will also perform a public hearing that we will take notes from and provide that information to you. So you've seen this process. This will be the 3rd time that you've seen the process in the way that our team has worked it, and we've also included state statute and procedural directive and how we will follow that process. So we stand for any questions.
Questions from the board at all? Hearing none, we will go on to item C, consideration of the approval of the contract performance framework for the Siembra Leadership Academy. That is a discussion action.
Mr. President, members of the board, Superintendent Reedy, as you will recall, I believe back in June or July, our office found that many of our charter school contracts were not correct, including we found that Siembra Leadership High School had never had a contract executed and has been open for the past 2 years. So we have taken care of that problem with the past work that had happened or didn't happen, and this is bringing them up to speed, getting their contract executed, and also including their 2 performance framework goals, which you have seen similar goal statements before, for example, with Technology Leadership High School. Using the same goals. And so we do have the leaders from the school here in case you have any questions. Mr. Tony Maffaletto is the interim principal of the school at this time, and Leslie Kelly is their governing board president and governing council president, and you'll remember she used to be the director of counseling for the district. So it's good to reconnect with her. So I stand for questions.
Good. Any questions from the board members? Board Member Peterson?
So when we started working with the Leadership Academies, one of the goals was to really try to forge a new concept of how we work together and how we utilize each other's strengths. And I'm curious where that stands.
Yeah, Mr. President and Ms. Peterson, we did perform our first fall site visit with ACE Leadership High School. I believe that was this week. And we did have that conversation about partnership school and how we can continue to learn from them. And so Mrs. Elder and I have met with them twice, and we'll bring you back a report of what are the areas that we see that are possibilities and how that's progressing. And we're also really trying to learn from them how their strategic partnerships, in that case, providing them facilities and ongoing work to college and career readiness.
Thank you.
Other comments?
Just one quick question.
Sure. Board Member Patterson?
Thank you. Was there a corrective action plan at some point?
Mrs. Patterson, yes, Siember Leadership High School is on a corrective action plan for several areas, including governing council membership, following the Open Meetings Act, just overall communication and work with us. It's interesting that during that process, nobody brought up that we didn't have a contract, although we were using contractual language. I can tell you just a brief update on that. I will be sending you a letter or copying you on a letter. We did receive an update on their corrective action plan. I did want to introduce to you their Director of Operations, Ms. Jackie Baldwin, who really stepped up as they transitioned from their previous executive director, and now they are on a search for a permanent executive director as Tony stepped in. And Ms. Baldwin provided us a update, I believe that was last Thursday. Our weeks run together, but last Thursday we received an update on that. They have made tremendous progress in each of those areas, and so we'll be documenting that. However, we will not remove them from the corrective action plan until we see a full year cycle of the work. They have a new executive director in place, and we make sure that everything is in compliance. But I can tell you that from our view right now during our fall site visit, they're on a great trajectory forward.
And let me just follow up. How often are you meeting with the school with regard to the corrective action plan?
So regarding their corrective action plan, we will meet with them once in the fall. Now we got an update on that, and then my intention is we will perform a full site visit in the spring, and then we will have a corrective action plan site visit as well. So twice in the spring. So we'll give you updates each time.
Thank you.
Yes. This one's a little different because of just the contents of it. So you'll notice that our other corrective action plans, we are doing monthly monitoring. Because of the contents of this, and I will lay that out in the letter, it doesn't require monthly monitoring. I just wanted to point out that difference. I'm sorry.
Other comments?
I just have a quick question.
Board
So
Member
I'm trying to I'm trying to wrap my head around what we're doing.
So the board approved in 2015 the approval of a new charter school application.
Okay.
That was the approval, but the charter school office at the time never did the administrative work that they needed to do, which was to have you approve a contract.
So
and you've seen that process time and time again. So you'll approve a renewal or a new application. Then you allow me to negotiate the contract. We negotiate the contract and bring that back to you along with the performance framework. That second part did not happen for whatever reason by the past director.
So we're just I'm trying to look at the dates. We're going to 2021 from July 2015 to 2021. Yeah. That just threw me off a little bit. So I'm like,
when you approve a new charter school, you can actually approve it for 6 years.
Okay.
So 1 year for planning and then 5 years for actually opening the school and running. And so we can only approve renewals for 5 years.
Okay.
But in the initial application, you can approve it for 6.
Okay.
And that's what happened.
All right, because it all just predated me too.
Correct.
So like I was trying to.
It predated me too.
I was like, what? Okay, what is going on? So that's helpful. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Joseph. And we weren't really well, anyway. Tony, you're interim. When are you going to get out of the interim? I mean, what is your time frame? I know you've got a lot going on, so, I'm interested to know.
I can tell you while he comes up here, Mr. Hugh Prather, as you know, is conducting their search, which I have full confidence in.
Sure.
And they have their posting on the website. I believe they have 25 applicants, something like that.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, Tony.
Board members. The goal is for us to have the next the permanent executive director in place by the end of November.
Okay.
So we think it'll be before then, but that would be the last date.
Okay. That's great. Yeah, because I know you've got a lot on your plate.
It's been fun,
so,
Mr. Chairman.
I know you love to get in the details, but it's all right. Okay, thanks. Yeah, that was interesting. I didn't see a lot of disaggregation data. I know that you probably have all that, like how many ELs, how many special ed students with the IEPs, because there was a lot of information about IEPs and controlling that. And, we had some issues with some other charters in terms of not doing all that. So I just kind of wonder if you've got some numbers, or if you don't have it right handy in your mind, just maybe give it to the board members so we have some of that information.
I don't, but I have, I will include that information in the letter.
Yeah, it'd be great.
The briefing, so we can all be on the same page. Yes, sir.
Yeah, that'd be great. I think that's a good idea, just kind of get a feel, because I know that these schools that Tony's kind of associated with, charters, do have some students in those categories, and I think it's really good, because we're trying to work towards what are they doing, how do you really provide the educational background that they need to have, and how do you get them into the workforce, the internships, and a variety of other things. So I think it's really good.
Yes, sir.
And I want to emphasize a little bit also on what Barbara said, Board Member Peterson, because I'm really interested in how we can use the things that Tony's doing with some of these schools as kind of a leverage, a leverage for us in terms of a lot of the CTE stuff that we're working on, and how do we do those internships, and how do we actually look at some of the apprentice kinds of things, and get some of our kids, all of our kids, kind of into some of the experiential learning areas, because I think that's really good for them. So, learning from each other, how we can partner in some of those things, I think is a really good thing.
Yes, and in fact, just an example of that, we had a discussion at their site visit about micro-credentialing. So for example, all of their students are leaving with OSHA 10 cards, but how do we give them, the students as they leave, a document from the school that shows all the certifications that they have and what they mean? Right. Because just putting it on a resume by a student sometimes doesn't make those connections.
Right.
So we're sharing a lot of that information, but I know you want it to be a little more formalized, and we're working on that.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah, and I think a lot of things that Board Member Montoya Cordova is doing with the Workforce Solutions, things we're doing to kind of partner with CNM and Selena Bussey in terms of a lot of things that she brought over from the Workforce Solutions. How do we really work all those partnerships together is really important. And so I think the more we can do all these collaborations, the more we can kind of learn from each other, the more we can really support each other in terms of how we do that. It's going to be a really, really good relationship. So those are the right things.
Yes.
So thanks. Yeah.
And I know you've been invited to our stakeholder meetings, but we're working on our academic.
Yeah, I've been out of town.
So I just want to put a plug in for that.
Yeah.
We have a lot of things cooking. So thank you very much.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Joseph. Okay, great.
We just need to take.
We do need to take a vote. Yeah. I'll entertain a motion for approval of the contract and performance framework for Siembra Leadership Academy.
So move.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
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 All opposed? Thank you. You now have a contract after 2 years or whatever it is. Okay. Okay, we'll go on to board member comments. Just a comment, Board Member Board Member Muller-Ergen, I should say, had to leave because her daughter has a birthday. And I think that's a priority. So I want to make sure people understand that. And that's good. So Anyway, we'll start down here with Board Member Peterson.
Let's see. First off, well done, board services folks, for all of the support they gave to the LESC meeting. That was a massive thing. All of our tech people were over there, and it was fun for legislators to actually see the human beings that come to school every day. And I think they were really impressed. Kim Fink knocked their socks off in her presentation on the MRI schools. Rachel Altobelli and Mary Chappelle did a really nice job on libraries and why we need libraries, why libraries need to be libraries and not temples of computerized testing. And so it's a goal to work on. Let's see, what else? Thank you, Superintendent, for your report tonight. It was really helpful. I need to go back and listen again so that I can write down numbers, or if you have it in written form, I'd welcome it just so that I can get that. And thank you, and Dr. Blakey for being patient with me as I whine and beg and cry, and I understand. All I can say is when we become board members, they need to furnish us with a magic wand, because this has been an incredibly hard week. It has been a hard week where there has been no good solution. At least no good immediate solution. And so I really appreciate the long-term planning. The exciting thing is that I think that we can play a really instrumental role in pulling together all these different entities that have visions of what do we need to do for students, to have teachers. And so between the No Time to Lose that the LESC is working on, the Yazzie and Martinez decisions, and the vision of the community for recruitment and training, the work that the Teachers Federation is doing, looking at, we need to not just inspire high school students to get in the door, but we need to do this long-term planning of how do we continue to enrich the lives, the intellectual and professional lives of teachers throughout their career. And it's really exciting, and I think that maybe we can provide a platform for pulling together some of these conversations. And so that's sort of the one thing that's kept me going, because there's no good way to say that it's okay to have 24 students in a second grade classroom. There's just no good way to say that. And the frustration of families and the problem that we face is that a lot of our neighborhoods, just like Bandelier, are sort of transition neighborhoods, and it's what's made them really rich, dynamic, wonderful educational settings. Meanwhile, I'm hearing from Bandelier parents that they're getting almost on a weekly basis recruitment letters from Moss and Altura Park, or Altura Prep charter schools, and trying to recruit students. Meanwhile, I also hear from a principal that they're getting back the students that are not, whose needs are not easily met. And so all of a sudden they're back in our classrooms. And we welcome them, but I think the other thing that came to mind with the gentleman who's the EA, we have got to figure out how to more rapidly meet the needs of students that are struggling, because it impacts not just them and the adults, but all of the children in the classroom. So just really figuring out how do we make special ed work in a more immediate fashion. I mean, I know there are lots of reasons, and it's complex. I understand it's complex, but we've got to figure that out. One thought that I had when we lose teachers, lots of times I think, and this sort of speaks to what Board Member Garcia said, a lot of community members don't think of themselves as EAs. They don't think of themselves as going to work in our schools. And so they would never go to the APS website and look at the job openings. But if the posting was made at Bandelier for Bandelier, or at La Mesa for La Mesa, then it starts being more immediate. Then there's already a relationship there. And I know that over the years, the best EAs that I ever worked with are the EAs that were straight out of the community. This was back in the day, so sometimes they were the people who came and popped popcorn for fundraisers, but they were already, they had that one foot in the door. They would never have come up here to apply just in general. But when someone from Valle Vista would say, we need you, then they would step into the school in a different role. And it really strengthens the ties to the community. So I'm not sure what that would involve in terms of HR, but if we can make allocations, because parents are concerned about class loads, parents are concerned about class sizes, and if we can at least figure out how to give some support to students, I think it would be really helpful. But thank you overall for the report and the vision and the work that's going on, because there is no magic wand, and sometimes it's really miserable.
Thank you. Board Member Garcia.
I think I'll be brief. I just want to thank the superintendent for your report this evening. That was very helpful to get that sense of what's happening and your handle on it. Part of me wants to cry foul over an interview that I saw on YouTube with one of our partners and one of the state officials. I just don't know what to do there. I feel like we can't win in a one-sided conversation, and I don't know how we get in the conversation in the first place. And I'm trying to figure out how to be diplomatic, but at the same time, I think sometimes you just have to stand up to a bully. And I think there is a lot of bullying that's been going on. Mm-hmm. And I'm not sure. I'm not sure what it means or how we do it. Perhaps maybe the best thing is to let it go and hope that this kind of thinking will go away. I don't think it's going to go away. I think that the folks that seem to get some satisfaction over attacking APS are always going to be out there, and others will fall into that trap. I don't think we're afraid of criticism. I think what we would like is a dialogue about, okay, how do we move forward? And we have good teachers, we have good EAs, we have good M&O folks. That was the one question I wanted to just kind of check out with you, Superintendent. I didn't get a sense of what's happening within M&O. I know we have an aging workforce, and I'm a little nervous about that because you have a lot of experience that'll be eventually having to leave for various reasons.
We can get those numbers for you.
It would be helpful to just get a sense of what your idea is and, you know, how many plumbers, electricians, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, especially as we build new buildings.
Yes, of course. Of course. So there's that. But all in all, I just want to say that I do appreciate and respect the work that you do. And I was not able to make the Straight A Express meeting. I went last time, but I couldn't go. You know, my personal situation is still pretty much what it's been. It's getting better, but the changes in my wife's health are not visible at this point. And so I'm the primary caregiver, chief cook and bottle washer, as my dad used to say. And it's tricky. And there are times when I will sign up for a meeting and then I can't go because something's happening. So my apologies in advance, and I hope you will give me your understanding, at least if I'm not able to come on some occasions. But thank you so much.
Thank you, Board Member. Board Member Montoya Cordova.
Just in terms of the report on our vacancies, obviously that's not lost on someone like me who's working at Workforce Solutions, where we recognize that APS is the #1 employer in the city, which I think, people don't understand. That is the #1 employer with 14,000 employees, and so we recognize that. I know as a sector strategy, when you're looking at just education as a whole and the work that needs to be done in order to really make sure that that pathway can be developed and we can fill it so that we know that the pipeline is actually coming down the pike is important. And so I think it's important for us to figure out how that conversation is really also happening with Workforce Solutions, so that we're part of the communication or part of the strategies that are going to go on. There are several folks that come through the Workforce Connection Center office on a daily basis, and how is that also being communicated through our office so that we can make sure those individuals who are in the pipeline for employment are also aware that that's a process for them to do. And I know that there's been some effort made on that, and maybe we just need to come back, circle again, and see how do we strengthen that so that we can make sure that we're addressing it. So I was struck by just the number of folks that have separated, which is something that we're looking at also at just, a state government level too, because there's a number of people that are just retiring or separating from government as well. And so it's playing havoc for all of us. But as an economic indicator for our state too, and for our city, that's really key, and it's important because it certainly it's an economic driver as well in terms of the health of the overall community. So I would commit myself to maybe being in a conversation with you and also with our local workforce development board so that we can just see how that conversation can be strengthened there. The other thing I wanted to say is just in terms of all the conversation with just our celebrations, it struck me that, what was really important there was just how much community involvement we have at a school level just to make it all happen, right? Whether it's backpacks to clothing drives to just that commitment that I think that we have in our community to be a partner with APS. And that to me just warms my heart. And it warmed me even more when I went to Coronado Elementary and, got to see our students in terms of this bilingual, biliteracy piece and the power of the dual language and what it can do for not just for our students, but also for our community. I left feeling extremely prideful of the fact that it was in Barelas where, my grandparents lived, and I saw that horno, in their garden. I had just these flood of memories of my grandmother, and I showed my little video to my entire family and everybody at work, and what everybody found so special about that was just the enthusiasm from the students and how much pride they had in their ability to be able to sing these songs. And so I left, Somos Nueve Mexicanos. I was very proud of that. So just, good job on that. I'm really proud of us as an agency, because people want to give and people want to be part of something. But I also want to remind us that won't it be nice when there's no longer inequity, right? So that students can come to school, or parents can send their kids to school and not have to be worried about supplies or clothing or these kinds of things. But that we really just have, there's no longer inequity, and people can just come to school and be comfortable, and where it's all ready to go. So thank you to everybody for that, just their community involvement.
Thank you. Board Member Patterson.
Well, Superintendent Reedy, thank you for the report, but I want to tell you that over the summer, I didn't know this, but the call was put out there to the West Side Coalition. The president actually had mentioned to the community in the neighborhood, our neighborhoods, that APS is in need of teachers and staff. And so lo and behold, this summer I had actually resumes on my doorstep, and I was actually able to get some of those teachers. potential teacher, I think you have in your, I think they're staff now. They, actually, I was able to get him to the Rio Grande, I think you had a teacher fair. And I was able to get most of them there and stuff. So just to let you know that our community is behind us here. Our neighborhoods really are also helping us, and that's a big thing. And then I wanted to share, you know, I attended the CUBE conference in Las Vegas, Nevada. And it's the Council of Urban Boards of Educators. It's part of the National Organization of School Board Associations. And one of the things that, you know, I will share, I will have a report next, at our next board meeting. It was parent engagement and what one district is doing in particular. And I know that, you know, there were over 1,000 participants there, 1,000 board members, administrators. And I want to tell you, in listening and attending some of these workshops, and that APS is head and shoulders above many of these districts, from Rochester to Chicago, Baltimore, Rockville, Maryland, where you have these affluent neighborhoods with board members, to Oklahoma, Los Angeles, LA, and stuff. And that APS, I was very proud to be there representing APS, that we are head and shoulders above many of these boards, these districts across the country. And Janet, I just want to thank you for always making us feel good about the things you do out in our community. I think we just need to give you a great big hand for what you do. And I just want to thank Tres Volcanes, the community collaborative to school. The celebration was really phenomenal. There are probably 600-700 people there. But a great big thanks to Casito, who does a lot of the work in the back, and people don't know that, Casito Wujinji. And also to the principal, Ms. Garcia Salas, and her staff, and Dr. Gonzalez as well. And I thank you for all of the work, and the Frito pie was awesome. I always look forward to the food myself and stuff. And so let me see what else did I have. I don't want to take up a lot of time. And just Daisy, Dr. Daisy Thompson, you know, it was really amazing what you did yesterday at the tribal education status report. The leaders that you brought here was really it was amazing listening to who we have in our community of schools, and thank you so much, as well as Dr. Serna Marmol for the work. Very proud of what we do in our district. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Board Member Patterson. And Board Member Armijo.
Yes, thank you. I just want to say happy birthday again to Scott and Lorenzo. Thank you for the cake. I feel blessed every day to have both of you in my life, so happy birthday. Thank you to our speakers earlier during public forum, and I hope that we can follow up on some of that. Congratulations again to Janet on the 60th year successful event, so congratulations again. I also wanted to point out that Tanya Campos has been working on a youth voter registration event that will take place this Saturday, October 6th, from 10 to 2. It will be on C&M campus. It's on the corner of Cole and University. Again, it's geared towards a youth voter registration event, but anyone who's welcome. I think the deadline to register to vote is October 9th, and you can register if you're 17 as long as you're 18 by the election day. So thank you again to APS for working with C&M and multiple other partners on that event. And I'd also like to point out, I hope my mom is listening, but I'd like to point out that APS employees and their families can get their flu shot during the Health and Wellness Fair on Friday, October 12th. So again, I'd like to encourage folks to get out and get your flu shots, and I'll be there as well. So thank you again for everything tonight. Thanks.
Great. Thank you, board members. So Lorenzo had a birthday on September 26th. Well, my wife had a birthday on September 25th. And it's actually been many days of birthday celebration, actually. And I'll make a mention at the end about one thing, but, you know, since the September 19th, our last board meeting, here's all the things, okay? September 20th, September 22nd, September 25th, September 26th to 28th, September 27th, October 2nd, October 3rd, we're coming up on October 5th, and October 10th. Those are all things that some of us, or maybe all of us, have participated in. It has been one heck of a busy couple of weeks, guys. So, comments on all those. Those are the dates. Of all those dates, one thing I think that's really critical to us is the LAC meeting. The LAC meeting was wonderful. I think we made a very, very positive impression on the LASC members. I thank the staff for being very well prepared. Our principals were very well prepared. Both the one at Hawthorne and the one at Whittier, I think. I couldn't be there for all of it because I was out of town, birthday celebrations. But I understood that the presentation by Pedro, whatever his last name was, I don't get it, remember? Yes, was very good in the sense of directions and things that maybe we can use for talking points for how we address what we're doing and the collaboration, you know, those kinds of things, particularly with regard to our MRI schools. And one other thing that I know has been going on that I know is a follow-up on our special education survey, and then the other part of it was to have Council Grey City Schools come to us and look at the special education department. This is great. This is very proactive in terms of what our administration is doing to try to say, how do we do better? What are the kind of things we can do? And I'm looking forward to, here in the near future, having a report on that and what kind of things that they have actually come up with. I think that's a very good interface for us. And kind of from the superintendent's report on the retention of teachers, you know, the real issue is that teaching is a profession, guys. Teaching is a profession. It is not something just anybody can walk into and do. And so it takes time. The systemic approach, I mean, it's nice that we're going and we're trying to get EAs and we're trying to get people involved and so forth, but that's not going to solve our problem, guys. We have to have a lot bigger inflow of teachers coming out of our universities. And so the question is, well, what's the root cause of why they're not there? Why are we have 6% in our education instead of 25% that was in the 90s? Why is that the case? Well, I think those are the things we have to resolve. Those are the things we have to solve, because otherwise we're not going to get that flow of teachers coming out of the universities. This isn't like a problem just for APS or New Mexico. This is a problem across the nation.
It is.
And so unless we solve those systemic problems, we're not going to get the kind of quality in the teaching and the profession that we need to have. And it is a profession, guys. You know, I mean, I like to think I can teach, but, you know, I don't know that I would do really well in a fourth grade class, you know. There's classroom management. There's the things that my person here from Sandia was talking about in terms of special education. You know, there are all kinds of things that we're asking our teachers to do, from a counselor to a police officer to an educator to whatever. And these are really tough things. You don't just walk in and assume that you can do this. I don't care whether you've got a professional degree or not. And so that's why we go to school. That's why we have an education process. That's why we look at the kind of things that we are doing with UNM in terms of having a kind of an apprenticeship kind of a process here, like with La Mesa, you know, and trying to get earlier people actually into what I call the profession. In other words, actually doing experiential learning on the job. You may find out you don't really like it and you better get out of there. Or you might find you really do like it and you've learned something. So these are things that are really, really important. And if we don't start solving that problem from a national point of view and from our own state point of view, we're going to be in the same problem all the time, you know? I mean, it's great that we're working on it. It's great that we're getting people involved, and certainly the more we can build capacity in that way. But the way you really get capacity is to go through the real profession and how they get educated. And whether that's being done right or not, maybe we need to improve that a lot. Yes, you know, because there's all kinds of things now being asked of educators that weren't asked, you know, when we went to school, particularly when I went to school. Maybe you guys a little bit earlier. One last thing, you know, I was in New York City this last weekend with my wife, part of the birthday celebration, and we saw a couple of musicals there. One was Dear Evan Hansen and one was Hamilton. Just fantastic, holy Toledo. But here's a message. You probably don't know necessarily what Dear Evan Hansen's about. But Dear Evan Hansen is about a student who is feeling very lonely, a student who is not connected, a student who is, doesn't have friends, a student who is going to get mental health help, and he's supposed to be writing some Dear Evan Hansen letters to himself to encourage himself, right? So he's supposed to be writing these letters to himself. Well, in the meantime, a student who is a real rabble-rouser and nobody likes killed himself in the school. And so Evan Hansen decides that he's going to write these letters kind of in a response to that suicide. And what happens is that people start interpreting the fact that it was the guy who wrote did the suicide that was writing these letters to Dear Evan Hansen. And so he was his friend, actually, when he didn't have any friends at all. And so it started evolving, and it started evolving. Well, I don't want to tell you the whole story, because you may actually want to go see the play, see the musical. But here's the line. The line is, you're not alone.
Mm-hmm. Very good. Very good.
It's very, very important for our students to understand that you're not alone. You know, and it's not just for the kids that are lonely or aren't connected. It's for all of our kids. You know, we had the kid at El Dorado, the baseball player, who was well-liked, who was good academically. It's very important that we get that message to our kids. So Martha and I are both crying here. And Dear Evan Hansen, but it kind of hit home, you know, because this kid lived four houses around from us. He lived around the cul-de-sac from us. And we talked to his parents. You know, it was like a nightmare. So a message to all of us: tell your kids you're not alone. You're not alone. Not alone. Okay. So that's my comments. Thank you very much. So we have upcoming board meetings, of course. The next Board of Education meeting will be Wednesday, October 17th, 5 o'clock here, and the next special Board of Education meeting will be Monday, October 22nd, in the Dale Martin Room, and with that, we are adjourned. Thank you, board members.
Thank you.
Yeah.